Have you tasted Cooper's Golden Crown Lager and thought you wouldn't mind making it yourself with their home brew kit? Come along with me and I'll show you how to make it quick and easy. Let's go. Hey guys, Musa here from Quantum Home Improvements and Solutions. Welcome back to the channel. And so today I'm going to show you step by step how to brew Cooper's Golden Crown Lager. Now me personally, I'm a sweet beer type person and I do prefer the pale ales, but I also prefer the lagers. And this particular lager has a fruity taste and it's from the Thomas Cooper range. Now, Thomas Cooper himself turned his hand to a number of different trades and moved from Yorkshire to South Australia, Adelaide, back in 1852. And 10 years later, in 1862, he started to brew in a very small way using his wife Anne's family recipe. And 160 years later, his company is now world renowned for their beer. So Coopers make a complete homebrew kit, which you can purchase, and I will put a link below if you're interested. And so I've been brewing for 15 years and started off like Thomas Cooper as a novelist, but now I'm really getting into it and it's so easy to make their beers and it's really cost effective. So before we start anything, the first thing we've got to do is put this syrup in boiling water and let it sit for 20 minutes to soften the syrup so we can pour it into the fermenter. And so just here you take the lid off and on the top here you have the yeast. And also on the back here you have a little section you peel off and these are your instructions. But I'm going to go through step by step how to make it, but you've got this as a reference if you need it. So first I'll put the tap on. I'll just put a bit of water around that and just squeeze that tap in and it goes in quite easily. Coopers don't recommend you use any oil on that, just use water. So while the syrup is softening in boiling water, I'm now going to sanitize the fermenter. So I'm going to be using Country Brewer's 100% chlorinated trisodium phosphate, which is actually a sterilizer. But please note, there's no such thing as 100% sterilization because in an uncontrolled environment, you're going to get bacteria coming in from every angle. But what I'm going to do first is use this particular ingredient and you mix this 1 teaspoon to every litre with hot water. Then when you're finished, you wash it out straight away in cold water. The second part, I'm going to spray on a sanitizer, which is 10% phosphoric acid, and it's also from Country Brewers. And so then once I do that, then I can put the brew together. So I'll just take the fermenter apart. This is a 3-part system. And I'll just put in 2 teaspoons. And now I'll put in 2 litres of water. Okay, so now I'll just wash this through. Just comprehensively wash it. So I'm just going to rinse this off as well and then we can get into making the brew. Just let a bit of water run through that tap again. Okay, so now everything's sanitized. I'll put the 2-part fermenter together. And so I'll just put the tap back on. So in this spray bottle, I've put in ½ litre of water, and so for every litre, you put in 30 millilitres of phosphoric acid. So now I'll just spray everything through. Okay. So please note, I'm actually being very thorough with the sterilising and the sanitising. But some people just use a sanitizer. The most popular on the market, which is a quick sanitizer, is Stelazan or Starzan. They're pretty good products as well. I'm just choosing to be more thorough. And so now I need to boil up 2 litres of water to put this mix together. Okay, so now just take it out. So I won't open this all the way through. I'll just leave the lid hanging on a little bit. And so you will need a cloth to carry this. You don't want to burn yourself. So now from the kettle, I'll pour in 1.5 litres of water. Ultimately, we're going to be putting in 2 litres, but then we'll pour in the syrup. Now there's still a lot of syrup in this container and you can see it in there. So with the remainder of the hot water, I'll just pour that into this container. Just that, give it a bit of a swirl around. Then just tip the remainder in. Done. Okay, so the next step is to put in the sugar, and they recommend for this particular beer that you use a light dry malt and 1 kilo of. Now these are sold in 500 grams, so you've got to put 2 packets. We'll just put that in and sort of just mix it in all around the place. Don't stir too much, just mix that in. Okay, just try to spread it around evenly. It will clog up. It is a malt and it's very hard to dissolve the malt. Okay, so now we'll fill up the fermenter up to 23 litre. And there we are. Just give that just a quick stir. And the temperature is brilliant. So the Golden Crown Lager is almost ready. We just need to take a hydrometer reading now, and then we'll put in the yeast. And so the temperature that we need to get this at is between 21 to 24 degree, which is different to other brews that Cooper's makes. So usually they recommend between 21 to 27. In this case, it's different. Lager tends to want to be brewed in a colder climate. Now, this particular brew starts off between 21 to 24, and then it sits for 10 days, unlike the other brews, which are 6 days. So we'll sit it for 10 days, and we'll let the temperature go down to 13 to 15 degrees, so even lower. And so this will make it a very clear beer as well. Okay, so I'll just pour some beer out and get a reading. So the original gravity that Cooper's recommended was 1038, and it's pretty close. So whatever you do, don't pour this back into the fermenter. Just tip it out or drink it. I might just give it a taste. Wow, it's not bad actually. I can taste that fruit in it. It's a little bit bitter at this point. Okay, so the final stage now is putting in the yeast. Okay, so just let that yeast sit on top. You don't mix this in, just spread it around. And then put the lid on. I'll just put the clips on either side. Okay, so that's it. So now just leave it for 10 days and just make sure that the temperature sits between the 13th to 15 degrees Celsius mark. And so if it does start to rise a little, I'll put it in a cooler spot. And if the temperature drops too much, I'll put a heat pad under it. It's now the 11th day, and I believe the brew has now stabilized just over 1010. So I'll just give another reading. That's a nice color, very, very nice. Smells nice too. All right, so we'll just get a reading there. Yep, it's definitely stabilized. Okay, so the next step now is to sanitize the bottles. And for the first time, I'm gonna be using a gadget, which will make my life a lot easier. And so I bought this from Country Brewers. And so this little device is quite good. So basically just gotta put this together. You put the spring inside here. You put a little cap on. Twist that in. Sit that into place. So all you've got to do is put your sanitizer into this container and it pumps it up to the top and washes the bottle through. But the only problem is that the bottle can actually slip through and then that won't work. So I went and got a washer from my garage, put it on top, and so now it fits over perfectly. Now the only thing is, because it's a washer, it won't allow the water to come out so easily. So I'm just gonna have to be very careful when I push down. Probably even push on the side, let the water come through the side of it. Okay, so now I'll get some hot water. I will be doing the 2-part sterilized sanitizer again. So once again, with every liter of water, you put in 1 teaspoon of chlorinated trisodium phosphate. And to help me even further, what I have here is a bottle tree. Okay, so this is gonna help me dry the bottles off. So all you basically do is just sit on top here, screw it on, and depending on how many bottles you've got, that's how many you screw on. Okay, so I've got just over 30 bottles. Each one of these will carry 10 bottles. So I'm gonna put 4 on here. So this will take up to 81 bottles. All right, so it's got a drip tray in here. So when you wash them, it actually washes out into this drip tray. So it makes life a lot easier. So basically, you just put this on top. That's it. Just wash that through. Okay. I love this. What a great little device. And this is made by Morgan's as well, this tree. And this container, this bottle washer, is imported from Italy. But you can get it from country brewers. And so now I've washed all the bottles in cold water and also the bottle washer, and I've put some fresh water back in there. And now I'm going to put phosphoric acid, and so I need to put 30 ml to every litre, and they estimate roughly that it's 3 caps. Okay, so now I wash the bottles again with the phosphoric acid, but remember that phosphoric acid does not need to be washed. So you put the phosphoric acid in cold water and just pump that through. Done. And just put it back on the tree. I'm also going to be replacing the caps with new caps. I haven't said it on any other video, but they do actually start to wear out and start to leak after a while. So you do need to change these caps periodically. And also with these caps, because they are new, you need to take the little lip off them because the bottle already has them. If you try to take it off the bottle, you will damage the top and it won't seal properly. So it's best just to take them off the cap itself. Be very careful not to distort the cap. I'll also spray the bench with the phosphoric acid. I'll just put in the little bottler into the tap, make sure it's secure. I will have a towel on the floor, you will drip a little. All you do is just place the bottle through the little bottler and you turn your tap on. Push the bottle upwards and it releases the valve on the little bottler. It's pretty easy. I'll just take the clip off just to release the pressure. So you'll find the first few bottles will be a little frothy. Either you can let it settle or just slowly fill it. And when you get to the top, just go real slow and let only the froth come through. All right, so we've got a few bottles here. I'm going to close them off before I go any further. So we grab the Cooper's carbonated drops and we place 2 per bottle. So you do have to close them off quite tight because they will leak and then the brew will be useless. So you can see how easy this is. It doesn't take much effort and it's really been simplified by Cooper's. All right, last one, we'll get back into it. Okay, so now we're coming to the end of the fermenter. It's coming close to the tap here. So Cooper's has designed this to be high off the base because there is a sediment down the bottom and that sediment will go into the bottle if the tap's too low. So what I'm going to do now is allow the last bottle to fill up and then I'm still going to use the rest of this, but these will be for my tester bottles. So in other words, they will be a little cloudy and I'll put them aside. Okay, so I'll just put the carbonated drops in these ones and finish them off. So these carbonated drops are for the secondary fermentation, which happens in the bottles. And you need to keep the bottles around about 18 degrees. So store them in a nice cool place, not too hot, not too cold. So I will have to tilt this on an angle and try not to cloud it up too much. Okay, so I'll put the carbonated drops in these last three and just put these ones on the side. Okay, so it's complete. And we end up with 30 bottles, which equates to roughly 2.5 cartons of beer. So it's definitely worth making home brew, and especially Coopers. They taste great. And I'm looking forward to tasting this Golden Crown Lager. So good practice that I always have is write down the brew that I've made and the date that I've made it, so I know how old it is and what I'm drinking. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank Dee from Country Brewers for helping me to understand the differences between the sterilizers and sanitizers, and I'm very happy going this way. Now it does take a bit of time, as opposed to using maybe a Stelazan or a Starzan, which is only a sanitizer. Now it does work and a lot of people use it and they're very happy with it. I'm just trying to be thorough, so please understand you don't have to do it the way I've done it. I'm just trying to be thorough. And also this tree is brilliant. It really made my life so much easier. And the bottle cleaner, that is a must-have. That was brilliant. That cleaned my bottles better than I've ever cleaned them. So finally, I'd like to thank Frank for the time that he gave me over the phone and all the pointers he gave me on this particular beer. So I'm looking forward to tasting this Cooper's Golden Crown Lager, which roughly can be drank after about 3 weeks. I tend to wait 2.5 months. I find it tastes better. So all Cooper's beers are GMO free, that's genetically modified organism free. So they have a best after date. So that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. And please remember to drink responsibly. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them below and I will get back to you. And please consider to subscribe, hit the like button and share this video, and there's many more to come. Thanks guys.